And with the gaming, you can have a good game, but if the token, because you're not paying forward to stakeholders, right? If the token implementation isn't done right, it's not capturing value, your token really has no value. And unfortunately, with the gaming, it's not just about your users. Most people will judge the validity or success of your project based on how well the token's doing, right? So you have to somehow, and not just get a good game, but you have to build and integrate a token that somehow captures that value and supports a strong token economy. The other thing is that you have sort of a responsibility of longevity. And this is something that I think not many people in Web3 gaming talk about, but it needs to sort of come to front and center. With normal games, they have a normal life cycle, right? Sort of a season, and then most people get past the game. There's the initial hype, people love it. I mean, outside the top 0.01% of successful games that sort of last 5-10 years, most games are seasonal. So there isn't the expectation of longevity. But when you've got people investing in the token, especially if they have long-term time horizons, there's an expectation of longevity. This product needs to last long, continue accruing value for me as a token holder, right? So this is where the token implementation becomes really important. So what we've designed is a decentralized cashier. Okay, so this means it's non-custodial. Obviously, it's great, and it sort of enables us to bypass the SEC and all these issues that you have with being custodians. But more importantly, the way this decentralized cashier works is you have to deposit USDT. It works similar to a Uniswap liquidity pool. You deposit USDT, so let's say you deposit $100 of USDT, you get issued $100 worth of bigger tokens. Now, you can take those bigger tokens and now you go play all the games you want. Now, let's say you win $10,000 worth, right? When you go to cash out, the cashier burns the bigger tokens for you and then sends the USDT to you. So you've made all this USDT, and here's a few very important functions. So what have we done there? We've just locked all the liquidity, which means our game economy is 100% backed. This is one of the issues that I mentioned in the incentive trilemma. Most projects don't have full liquidity, as in even if you earn these tokens, when you go to sell them, they're worthless because the books don't support your sell pressure. With us, every single dollar in Big Arcade is backed by $1 of USDT sitting in that cashier. So you can cash in, cash out full freight no matter what. That gives gamers confidence to come and play our games knowing they can cash out anytime. Second very important function, this decentralized cashier fixes the price of every bigger token to 10 cents USDT. Okay, this is really important, and it has some really cool symptoms. So another issue that most Web3 games struggle with is game economy instability. So if you look at Axie Infinity, for instance, at the start of 2019, it cost you about $20 to buy into the game, to buy one of their Axies, right, and play. By the end of the bull market, it cost you about $2,000. Yeah. So imagine that from a gamer's perspective, right? It's just impossible, especially when 90% of your audience is based out of Southeast Asia. You're asking them to shell out like 1 to 2 months income just to play your game. It's never going to work. And the inverse relationship, when the market tanks, what happens, right? The assets plummet. So the cost of your game's gone down, but so has the total revenue coming into your game and the value of those rewards. So you can't have this volatility if you want a product that's going to retain lots of customers. So we've fixed the price via this decentralized cashier at 10 cents. So not only have we now solved the liquidity issue of Web3 games, we've now also solved game economy instability. So our game, the integrity of our game, our core product that generates all our revenue is protected. Bull or bear, it's always going to function no matter what. It's always going to have full liquidity, and it's always going to be valued at the same. It's cost the same. But here's the secondary symptom, which is fucking awesome. It's buying. So if you think about the cashier, it is now a reseller of bigger tokens. It needs to stock up inventory of bigger tokens to resell to gamers, right? Because gamers need that as the currency to play in the arcade. So that's its core function. Now, because it's burning those bigger tokens every time a gamer withdraws, essentially every token that goes into the bigger arcade is burnt and gone forever. So it constantly has to replenish its inventory. Now, where does it get its inventory? It buys it off the secondary market, directly off Uniswap LPs. This is really awesome because it means we have a perpetual burn directly related to the success of the platform. So the more players who play the game and the higher the frequency of plays, like the more players that play and how often they play, the more bigger tokens are burned. The more games we deploy in the ecosystem, the more Biga tokens are burned, and they start getting burnt at a faster and faster rate as our system grows. So that's how we've scaled. That's how our token model is infinitely scalable. The more users that come in, the more Biga tokens are burned. Whereas if you
Okay.
look at other projects, right, the more users that come in, the more rewards are inflated, the more tokens are, the more supply. That creates that liquidity issue, right? So we've solved all these issues, but here's another thing. What does that mean? Okay, our token, Biga token on TGE drops at a $50 million FTV, which means at 50 billion total tokens, each token is worth 0.0003 cents.
Okay.
Right? But the arcade, the cashier, buys them up to 10 cents. It is inevitable. It's going to happen. That means our token is mathematically programmed to go up 333x.
I got to
It
get
is
some Biga tokens.
it is it is algorithmically programmed. It is a mathematical certainty. It has to go from 0.0003 to 10 cents eventually. The market will reach equilibrium with the arcade demand, right? The only question is how long does that take?
Mm-hmm.
That's the fun of what we've built. And as far as I know, it's the first token that's ever been designed this way. So that makes it hyper deflationary, and it also gives it a minimum price target. And when I say minimum, that has to happen 333x. And that's a minimum. After that, it goes into a new evolution, which I can get into later.